Hey everyone, finished watching the next VR Troopers episode, Despera Strikes Back. The Troopers are at Tao Dojo instructing an exercise class. Master Tao asks Ryan to help run the dojo while he's away on business. Tao's brother will be also staying at the dojo. Grimlord, meanwhile, is enraged when Despera calls him. She wants to introduce her sister Despanda. Despanda is confident she can defeat the Troopers. At the dojo, Ryan deals with an irate mother. Despanda hides a ship underwater at a reservoir. Professor Hart contacts the Troopers. JB and Caitlin go to check it out. Ryan stays at the dojo with a class. Despanda attacks JB and Caitlin and sends Skuggs after Ryan. Ryan is exhausted from his karate classes, but manages to defeat them. JB and Caitlin are brought aboard Despanda's ship. She sets a bomb. Ryan tries to contact the others and can't get a response. He wants to go check on them, but he doesn't want to leave the dojo. Tao's brother hasn't arrived yet. Jeb convinces him to leave just as Tao's brother arrives. JB defeats Despanda, but they still have the bomb to deal with. Ryan makes it there and tells them how to escape. The Troopers watch as the ship collapses in flames. Ryan returns to the dojo and is surprised to see Tao. His trip was cut short. Tao introduces his brother, who is impressed with how the dojo is being run. The Troopers look over to see Jeb teaching the next class. This is a fun episode. Plot's fine, action's good. 80-something episodes in, it's getting kind of hard to find anything new to talk about. Despanda's headdress and outfit were either sent from Japan or recreated, allowing for new footage that connects well with the existing footage. Ryan running the dojo is a good idea, though I think something like this probably should have been way earlier in the show. He's usually single-handedly running things with, no issue. Despanda is a unique character, and if the show had continued for another season, we may have seen her return. The actor playing Tao's brother played the wise man Kyogi in Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers. He's Gerald Akamura, and he's had many roles in martial arts movies, and is best known for his role in Big Trouble in Little China. That was interesting to find out. Another notable actor who's known for another role is Machika Soga. She played the Japanese Sponda, and is best known over here in the US as the Japanese actress who played Rita Repulsa. This is a good episode, but it's another basic one. Not a whole lot to delve too deep into, so that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya. Hey everyone, finished watching the next episode of VR Troopers, The Ghost of Crossworld Forest. The Troopers are out camping and get close to a hidden weapon of Grimlord's. A monster guards it, Fogbot. He dispenses a fog that can hinder the Troopers from transforming. The Troopers stay in an old cabin near a mine. Caitlin tells everyone about a local ghost story. They laugh it off, but Jeb insists ghosts are real and goes out to find one. He sees a mysterious glowing figure floating in the sky. It turns out what he saw was Despera entering Grimlord's secret underground base where Skuggs are building a reality buster. The next morning, Ryan runs into Fogbot and gets ambushed by Doommaster and the Vixens. He tries to contact the others, but Despera shoots away his VRVT. JB manages to receive a partial call from Ryan and transforms to find him. Caitlin wakes up and tries to find where everyone else went. She accidentally trips and falls through the floor into a mine. Ryan is cornered on a bridge and jumps into the water below. Caitlin struggles to climb out of the mine and calls to Jeb for help. Jeb goes to get a rope, but doesn't want to get too close to a big spider on it. Eventually, the spider crawls away, and Jeb drops the rope down to Caitlin. Ryan is cornered on a cliff, but luckily JB finds him and restores his transforming ability just in time. Jeb successfully pulls Caitlin out and she joins Ryan. They use the drill tanks to destroy the underground factory. Ryan then goes to deal with Fogbot. Fogbot is defeated and Grimlord yells at his minions. The Troopers then go to the newspaper and Woody shows them a front-page story he wrote about ghosts in the forest. Jeb goes under a blanket and then pretends to be a ghost. This is a fun episode, unique setting with creative action. This episode unfortunately has that problem a lot of fantasy sci-fi shows deal with occasionally. Ghosts are considered a ludicrous idea, despite all the crazy things our heroes have experienced, which includes ghosts. Fogbot has a unique ability, and he even has his own gas-masked minions, who sound like putties for some reason. A few scenes feature Ryan's Scheider counterpart serving as a stuntman. When Ryan leaps from the bridge and is cornered on a cliff, his hair turns black. If this show were being made now, they could probably digitally recolor his hair. Caitlin getting trapped in the mine was a creative use of the setting. It's nice to see Jeb with the Troopers again, and he even gets a pretty big role. The only weak part here is the newspaper stuff at the end. It's not bad, it just feels disconnected. So we're getting really close to the end of VR Troopers, and hopefully the remaining episodes are as much fun as this one. That's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya. Hey everyone, finished watching the next VR Troopers episode, Grimlord's Dummy. So the Troopers are scouting talent acts to perform at a benefit. They meet a ventriloquist, Wendell, and Grimlord plans on turning his dummy Woodman into a new minion. Two Skugs in disguise bump into Wendell and use a magic thingamajig to bring Woodman to life. At the newspaper, Wendell finds he can't control the dummy. He leaves it alone and tries to explain what's going on to Caitlin. They then see it moving on its own. It shoots lasers out its eyes and suddenly grows human-sized. Woodman steals JB and Caitlin's virtualizers and escapes. Grimlord sends out a new monster, Puppetoid, while Woodman attacks the dojo. Ryan goes to stop Puppetoid while JB and Caitlin try to get their virtualizers back from Woodman. Caitlin uses a mirror to deflect Woodman's lasers back at itself, turning him back into a harmless dummy. Ryan, meanwhile, defeats Puppetoid, and Wendell gets Woodman back and performs at the benefit. This episode is pretty standard, though Woodman is an American creation, and his brief fight with JB and Caitlin is kinda cool to see. The Scheider counterpart of this episode was also about puppets, and went further with creepy imagery surrounding them. VR Troopers dips a little into that when Wendell first comes to life at the newspaper. Not a lot to say about this one. The characters don't do a whole lot to stand out. Even the monster Puppetoid isn't memorable. Despite being named Puppetoid, it doesn't really do anything puppety. Only 2 episodes left, and I hope they give me more to talk about than this one. Shortest episode, I guess. See ya. Hey everyone, finished watching the next VR Troopers episode, Time Out. It appears to be a normal day at the newspaper when suddenly everyone but Caitlin freezes in place. At the dojo, the same thing happens. Only Ryan and JB are unaffected. It turns out this was the work of nighttime. Carl Zichter is informed by a female minion that they aren't affected by the time freeze because they're virtual life forms. Zichter is suspicious. He goes to virtual reality. Oraclon tells Grimlord about nighttime's doing. The Troopers, meanwhile, talk with Professor Hart, and he explains that they weren't affected because of their virtualizers. He goes on to inform them that there's a device, the Omegacron, causing the time disturbance. On their way through the park, the Troopers spot a purse snatcher. Caitlin takes the purse and puts it back on the arm of its owner, and JB ties the thief's shoelaces together. Ryan pulls a little girl out of the way of a moving truck. Grimlord questions Nighttime, but when he doesn't reveal his motivations for stopping time, Grimlord orders him to the dungeon. Nighttime complies. Ivar leads him through a room full of damaged robots. Nighttime uses telekinesis to build a new robot out of the scrap. It knocks Ivar away and helps him escape. Grimlord sends Fanbot to recapture Nighttime. Ivar battles with him as well, but Nighttime easily evades his attacks. Fanbot successfully sucks away Nighttime's energy, and Ivar places him in the dungeon. The Troopers find the Omegacron, but Doommaster and some Skugs show up to try and take it. They fight them off, and Grimlord sends out Ivar and Fanbot. JB and Caitlin go to deal with them while Ryan attempts to disable the Omegacron. Grimlord goes himself to obtain the device. He can't get close to it and reluctantly agrees to work together with Ryan to destroy it. JB, meanwhile, manages to defeat Fanbot. Everything is returned to normal once the device is destroyed. This is easily one of the best episodes of the show. It's a unique situation with a lot of old faces returning. Nighttime is a fascinating character, and his mysterious actions make me want to learn more about him. The Metal Heroes Wiki said he only had 2 appearances. That was a pretty big mistake. He's had several appearances. The robot Nighttime creates is a cool concept. Unfortunately, it doesn't stick around long. The Fanbot is also a neat idea, with his ability to suck away energy as well as matter. Frozen time is a fascinating concept and is explored briefly but creatively. Grimlord is forced to work with Ryan. Definitely a rare situation. And I really like this type of story where the villain and the hero have to work together to some common goal. The best really was saved for nearly the last, with only 1 episode left. This episode was pretty big. Will the next episode build on this? Will it follow up on Nighttime's fate? Will Grimlord be defeated? What about the VR powers? There's a lot of really cool stuff to look forward to in the next episode. So, yeah, really happy that VR Troopers near the end is going out with a bang. So, that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya. Hey everyone, finished watching the last episode of VR Troopers. JB and Ryan are putting together a robot for Professor Hart. Grimlord wants to steal it. At the lab, the troopers finish the robot, named Galileo. It looks like a small Dalek from Doctor Who, made of odds and ends. It starts to smoke and JB shuts it off. Caitlin suggests they get someone to help fix it, Poindexter. They go to his lab and he looks over Galileo. Doommaster comes to steal the robot with an army of Ultra Skugs. Poindexter helps fight them off with a fire hose, and even Galileo joins in, shocking a Skug with a prong. Unfortunately, Doommaster manages to teleport it to Grimlord. Poindexter luckily included a homing device. Galileo refuses to cooperate with Grimlord, and Oriclon tries to zap it, but misses, causing some confusion. Eventually, they get a hold of it and try to drain any information it has. Grimlord sends out a monster to keep the troopers busy, while Oriclon drains the information from Galileo. Ryan takes care of the monster, while JB and Caitlin get into the Dark Fortress and free Galileo. At the lab, Jeb and Galileo tease each other. This did not end the way I expected. The last episode was big and eventful, but this one is pretty basic. This episode almost feels like the start of a new season. Galileo appears to be a new regular character, and Poindexter is back. Unfortunately, this is the end, so no more of him. It's really disappointing that there's so many characters that didn't really get any big final moment. There's a lot of plot threads left hanging, the biggest being Nighttime. He's still in Grimlord's dungeon, and I guess he's gonna stay there. Galileo probably would have been a fine enough new character, though I can definitely see his shtick getting old. He'd probably be getting kidnapped or be given a virus routinely. Repetitive, but VR Troopers seems to love repetitive. It's too bad. For a finale, there's really not a lot to say. All that's left is how I think VR Troopers probably should end. I do have my own idea on an ending. I'll do a separate video, but here's a quick summary of what my idea for like a big finale for VR Troopers would be. Grimlord should send out an all-out assault. He's found a way to disable the reality barrier and break through with hundreds of monsters and robots. His forces attack Crossworld City. The troopers are outnumbered. Luckily, Ryan's father shows up. He's developed a new virtualizer for himself. Together, they go out to face Grimlord's army. Tyler Steele transforms into a form similar to Ryan's original look. JB, Ryan, and Caitlin use all their available abilities to push back the bad guys. The citizens of Crossworld City fight back as well. Tao, Woody, and Percy all work together to save the city. Grimlord eventually gives up and pulls his forces back as Professor Hart manages to re-establish the reality barrier. In the confusion, Nighttime escapes and disguises himself as a worker for Carl Zichter. Somehow, he reveals Zichter's identity, and Grimlord is relegated exclusively to staying in virtual reality. Nighttime allies with the troopers to defeat Grimlord and his forces for good. The troopers aren't sure if they can trust him, but after defeating Grimlord, Nighttime fades away. Before leaving, though, he does one more thing. He tells the troopers to return to the lab. They go and are shocked to find Professor Hart alive and well in reality. Tyler Steele reminisces with his old friend. Later, Ryan is at the pagoda. He thinks back to all the adventures he's had. Suddenly, he's interrupted by his father calling to him. He turns around to see his father, Jeb, JB, Caitlin, and many other friends there. He walks back over to join them as we fade to black. I think that'd be a great ending for VR Troopers. Like, it really wouldn't take a lot, just some finality with Grimlord. Have Grimlord be defeated, have Ryan's father come back, maybe he transforms. Like, I mean, we have the Metalder suit, get some use out of it. And also, all these side characters, like, just have them play a part. I was thinking of, at the end of Countdown to Destruction, or Beetleborgs, either the end of Season 1 or the beginning of Season 2, had some of the side characters helping out, fighting the bad guys. And I think that's just such a cool idea, and a really good way to utilize all these side characters. So yeah, that's it for VR Troopers. There's never been any official follow-up to the series. No characters ever appeared elsewhere, though some actors from it did go on to appear in Power Rangers at various points in time. Upon this rewatch, I'm surprised that I didn't care for VR Troopers as much as I used to. So much of the show is the same plots recycled over and over. Many of the villains lack personality. The troopers themselves are likable but unimpressive characters. The side cast is a bit more colorful. Woody is goofily over the top, Master Tao is a friendly, familiar face, and Jeb has some funny moments. Percy is a likable character at times, though his comedy often was pretty basic and unremarkable. Professor Hart was a fascinating character. Unfortunately, he was stuck as a near-emotionless info dump source most of the time. I'd have liked to see him in the real world more. There's a lot I wish could have been expanded on, but VR Troopers was made in a weird way at a weird point in time. Very little from the various Japanese shows they were adapting could be salvaged. This led to a lot of restrictions not shared by other shows of its kind. So, next up is Masked Rider, probably the most infamous show Saban was responsible for. Is it really as bad as people say? From what I remember, yeah, it's pretty bad, but not really any worse than, like, a typical sitcom. Like, I'd gladly watch Masked Rider right alongside an episode of Mork and Mindy or Alf or, yeah, any other crappy old sitcom. Like, I understand where the hate's coming from. Like, you took Kamen Rider and turned it into an American sitcom. But if you judge Masked Rider alongside American sitcoms, which is what it was trying to be, I don't think it's that bad. But I guess I'll see when I rewatch it. So that's it for this one. See ya.